Oh, that was weird. Because you're just like kind of pixelated over here. I mean, I can see you, and if it was in
What are you
lower.
trying to say, man? Huh?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm
Pixelated?
just saying. Like I heard you call for makeup, but it don't look like you got none.
I mean, if I'm pixelated, that's some pretty good makeup.
That's true. No, just low res. It's really low res. That's all.
Yeah, well, you're low res. No, fucking
Hey,
you
listen,
are.
I am not trying to diss you, bro.
All right,
I
we're
just
rolling.
was wondering how it looks on your end. We're rolling?
Yeah, it looks fucking great.
Okay, excellent. Here we are.
We are here.
Podcasting.
But we're not here.
I know. Well, this should be this is an interesting experience.
It's an interesting time.
We are a podcalypsing.
Yes.
Get it? I'm so high right now. So, Film Dorks podcast. What is this? 3?
3. Yeah. Welcome to everyone and anyone who's watching. If you're watching, hi.
If you're looking for some, we love you. Yeah. We've been what day is this in terms of us being trapped in our homes by this evil virus?
Well, let's not just say that, because it could be any day. It doesn't matter what day it is.
All right. Jeez, all right. Let's get all metaphysical about it. Fuck it.
Because we're watching this on the internet, and it could be 100 years from now. Hi, future people.
Yeah, we're dead now.
Yeah.
What's it like to be alive while we're dead? We're just wondering.
Come back and tell us. It'll be cool. We'll make a movie about it.
Yeah. But this shit's been weird, man. Like, as far as our industry goes, it's shut down.
Everybody's out of work. I mean,
everybody's out of work.
Probably
there's some people
watching is out of work.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people. I'm glad I have some close friends, such as yourself, that had a decent year. So that helps. But there's some friends I have that didn't have that great of a year. And they're hurting, and it fucking sucks, man. And people getting, like, literally have a close friend getting forced out of their home to go live with parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all dried up, and they didn't have a great year, and they're fucked.
Yeah.
It's this, and it's weird too, because when we talk about the entertainment industry, we're talking about an industry that's generally recession proof. Because in a recession, people still want to be entertained. It's one of the things that people want art, and so
even through
this isn't a recession. This is called a pandemic, and it's a little different. And it's
Hollywood thrived through the Great Depression, but that had nothing to do with the virus. That means that you can't be 6 feet from people. And on a movie set, there's anywhere from 20 to 300 people on a set,
or more.
Yeah,
big day with the 500, 600 extras.
Yeah, the first big movie I ever did was Dragon Wars, and everybody knew it's also called D-War. But
that's the porn.
Yeah. But everybody knew that that was like kind of a bigger deal than we thought when we showed up, and there was like tanks in the middle of downtown LA and like 600 extras. 300.
In other words, you guys foretold the future.
Yeah. Well, not really. Dragons. Yeah. There's
with the tanks coming down LA streets. That might not be that far away.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, sorry to be so grim. Nah, no, none of that here. All right, none of that here. Anyhow, it's weird. The world.
Yeah. Well, everybody's everybody's staying home and everybody's watching the shit out of everything.
Yeah, I know. Like we were
Which,
watching this shit out of everything. You know, it's weird. It's been weird too. Like for us at the guild, we're working from home. You know, they set us up on a VPN and all that shit. You know, but for my department, it's pretty limited what we can do, and it's difficult
yeah,
to not be able to go in the office to do it. So, doing what we can. But and I'm thankful I have a job. Like I still have one, you know,
absolutely.
and probably should have one through this, even if you know. I think you know, we'll see. But anyways, yeah, it's fucking weird, man.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna start a job last week, and
cheers.
yeah, oops. But fortunately, there's a whole lot of stuff to watch, and
Yeah, there is.
the the thing that we were gonna podcast about originally was The Invisible Man, because
Yeah,
we
well,
actually went out. We
let's
saw
let's
that in the
yeah, let's
theaters.
podcast about that. Let's do that. Let's talk about that because I just invested time into this
Yeah,
podcast, so let's talk about that. Um, well, one, when you like, so you can see that right now because it was only in theaters for like 2 weeks before all
yeah,
the shit hit the fan, and we were all trapped in our houses. So now you can rent it theatrical releases on demand. There's several other ones
yeah.
like Onward and
The Hunt.
The Hunt and one other one, Bloodshot, and that one you can actually just
Emma,
buy.
I think, is another one that I saw that's
Emma,
up there.
yeah. So
Yeah,
there's been a handful of them. There'll be more coming out that are going to be like that um, for a couple weeks, and you know they might be smart to take advantage of that. But regardless, it's kind of shut the industry down. So, but we
yeah.
we did see the Invisible Man. That was actually, what if this is the end of the world, Tom? That might have been the last date you and I ever went on in our lives, was with each other to go see the Invisible Man, because
Well,
that literally was a few days before shit hit the fan. Like really
yeah,
shit. Like, you know, well, it had already been shitting the fan, but there's a lot of shit hitting the fan, but there's just a lot of people there kind of deflecting it, pretending it was like water.
yeah.
Um,
Just not in L.A.
so, but we did see this one in the theaters, the
Yeah.
new Invisible Man, which was um, wait, who directed this one? I forgot. Man,
Oh man,
I know.
what are you
See,
doing?
well, do we want to
I thought you
start?
were going to be all researched.
Okay, I'm not. I'm researched about one. Why don't we start there? So we saw the new Invisible Man movie, but let's work our way up to that
Oh yeah, that sounds
because
good.
because we figured, not, you know, if we have a lot of time on our hands, so why not just watch some Invisible Man movies, starting
Wait.
with,
It was Lee Wanell
yeah,
was
Lee
the director.
Winnell, who did
We'll get
Upgrade,
back to
which
her
I
though.
loved, but him, yeah, we'll get back to him.
Yeah.
Um,
So it all
but
started with a book.
well, it did start with a book by H.G. Wells, which was written, I believe, in 1897,
Yeah.
before the turn of the century, um, and which is about the exact same time film was invented.
Yeah, just about.
Yep. Um, so, but the first adaptation to film was the 1933 version of H.G. Wells' Invisible Man, starring Claude Rains, and that was Claude Rains' first role. And then Claude Rains became a big um, kind of character actor. He was in Casablanca and all sorts of shit. Um,
Was he Sam?
no, no, I don't believe so. Was he? No, come on, no.
I have no
That was,
idea. I'm fucking with you.
yeah, man. Don't do that right now. I have.
Play it again, Sham.
See, we live in California, so in the apocalypse, and our dispensaries are still essential businesses.
You don't have to explain it anymore, dude.
I don't.
No, it's cool now.
Yeah, I know. No, whatever.
By cool, I mean like Facebook is cool.
Yeah. Or like MySpace is cool.
Yeah.
That's so yesterday. Anyhow, so I
So
watched the
1933. That's
1933.
only that's only a few years
James
into.
James Wales directed the first adaptation of The Invisible Man. That was Claude Rains' first film, um, and it's a short one. But this movie came out only 5 years after the advent of sound and cinema,
Yeah.
like the ability to do sync sound and film. Um, so and this
And about 60 years before blue screen came around.
yeah, yeah, right, before way before blue screen came around, and that's early blue screen too. We're not talking about like high tech CGI blue screen stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's and there's a lot of optic, like what's really impressive about the film is one, it's 71 minutes long, and so it's quick, and it's a pretty faithful adaptation to the original story. um and the optical effects that they do, and like the in camera effects, like you got to remember, this is a time when, like, this is early film it was maybe 35 years old at that point, um so it's and the special effects were incredible. Claude Rains' performance was really amazing. And there's a couple set pieces that they do in there that with the effects that are like, it's just really well done. There's also a good kind of sense of humor to the film. um, so I was
How
like,
so?
um, just kind of there's moments that are a little more playful, um, and kind of like, um, uh, certain performances and and stuff like that, which you could tell there was a little bit of a tongue in cheek to it, even going back that far back. And this is a pre-code film too, so like before the code was, which I think was like not long after that, actually. I think it was like 1935 that the code was put into effect, the Hays Code, which was
Yeah.
like, before that you could have a lot of
The
sexual
predecessor
innuendos
to
to the
as
the rating system.
the motion
Yeah.
picture arts
Rating
MPAA.
system. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it was a certain code, so no movies could have it back then. You know what I
Right.
mean? For during that period, if you watch movies, like the innuendo is strong with some of those writers, but that's where, and some of the performances, but
Sure.
that's the best you were going to slip in during Code Hollywood. Uh, so, so that, regardless, there's a couple, and there's some unintentional funny moments just from a modern perspective on cinema. It's just interesting to
Yeah.
watch. It's
Was there
but it
like
was.
a is there like a vaudevillian tint to it?
Sure, yeah, definitely. Like in the one woman's performance, like she's like her and the husband who own the Jack Clemens guy that shows up, the Invisible Man, shows up at this uh, like bar and inn in Sussex or something, but he gets a room, and the woman who rents him the room, like the whole time, once and it moves really quickly, when she sees like the Invisible Man, she just
Mm.
screams in every scene she's in, and she's in multiple scenes, and all she's doing is screaming her head off. It is ridiculous. Excuse me, COVID. um yeah, so it was way more like, I was kind of like, oh, am I going to be able to sit through this? Movie was made in 1933. Like, I've been pampered by cinema for, and special effects and technology for so long,
Yeah, it's a
but
big
I
step
was,
back.
yeah, it's a huge step back, but it was really impressive. Like some of the optical effects, I'm like, that's fucking clever. And it works really, some of it works really, really well. And there's a lot of it
Yeah.
in there, You know, I mean, there's other practical effects that they're doing in there too, but it all works really well, you know. So I
Yeah,
was really
there's a lot of
impressed with
like
that.
puppetry and
Yeah, puppets. There's some crazy puppets. But yeah, it's a great movie, and it was kind of cool to step back into cinema that far. Like, I had forgotten
shit.
how long ago that actual film was made, you know. And it's one of the first Universal monster movies.
Um, and then so a bunch of years went by. I don't know if there was any other Invisible Man movies that came out in
There,
subsequent years,
well, there are.
but
There's like I looked this up, and there's so many we could have picked from, you know.
yeah,
Like because it's a became public domain after a while. So there's a
right.
TV
That's what,
series from the late 50s.
um, well, the next one that I ended up watching was chronologically speaking, anyway, was Hollow Man,
Right, I
which
remember that
is
one.
that's I was surprised because I thought it was older, but it came out in 2000. And
I thought it was
I
older too,
guess,
and I saw that.
but I mean, it was before 9/11, so it's like everything before that seems like it was way older, I guess. But um,
Yeah, I guess
either
you're
way,
right.
I was also surprised at the cast because I didn't remember that uh, Thanos himself, Josh Brolin,
Oh,
is
really?
like
He's in it?
yeah, he's the other male lead,
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I remember
Elizabeth
that.
Shue is his was the female lead,
Right. And
and
then
of
Kevin
course
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Yeah, but it's directed by Paul Verhoeven, and this might have been the movie that brought Verhoeven down, because he was riding real high for a long time, um, and
Yeah, I don't remember it being much of a box office hit, and it was kind of
I
critically panned for the most part.
yeah, but like so if you don't know Paul Verhoeven's work very well, I mean he did RoboCop.
Right.
Um, and
Uh,
then did he do Showgirls or
he
was
did.
that
He did do
yeah,
Showgirls.
right.
That's
And he
that
also
was a
did
pile of
so
garbage.
uh the original Total Recall, the
Yeah, which
RoboCop
was
and Total Recall
incredible
put
movies.
him on the map, and then he got kind of like a blank check to do whatever he wanted, and he did a whole bunch of stuff including the two of those Batman movies, right? Or was that
Verhoeven didn't know that was
no,
Schumacher.
no, no, no. That was Shoemaker, right? But either way, both of them have this weird like perversion thing going on. And oh, he did. Did he do 8 millimeter, or was that Shoemaker as
No,
well?
that was Schumacher as well. I think
Right.
Verhoeven did, but he's come back and done a couple really solid movies lately,
Oh,
including
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
one L. You know, he's actually a
L
really
was
brilliant,
amazing.
yeah,
He's
incredible
just
film.
he's an
He's a
incredible
brilliant,
director.
yeah, he is.
But
This
this
wasn't his
movie
best
creeped
outing,
me out. Well, this movie creeped me out. It's so pervy.
is
Um,
it?
yeah, Kevin Bacon plays the lead of this
Right.
mysterious team. We don't know who exactly they're working for. I mean, like, the government,
Hmm.
and there's generals involved, and but they literally have like a lab they get in a secret elevator, and it goes like 500 feet below sea level, and um, the the character that Kevin Bacon portrays is just so over the top, like egomaniacal genius
Well, you know
scientist
what though?
guy. You
In the first
know,
movie, Claude Rains' character is very similar to that, although it was like a side effect of the drug that he was taking that was allowing invisibility made him go insane. And he was
yeah.
really like egomaniacal, like pretty over the top. But I mean, it certainly there's a lot of um, over the top kind of stage, uh,
Well,
that
let me
style of
let me give you
acting.
an let me give you an example of the perviness. The thing
Okay.
that that
Yeah, hit us with some
Kevin Bacon
perviness.
is
This is the internet.
Kevin Bacon is up late trying to figure out his molecules to make invisibility work. Okay,
Okay.
and they have all these animals that they test on a giant gorilla, of all things. They test invisibility on. So they have an invisible gorilla that like hurts Josh Brolin at one point, and Kevin Bacon's like,
I
he's
gotta
real
watch this
frustrated,
again.
but he he steps away from his computer and he looks out his window and he sees this woman across the way who is undoing her bra in
Of
front of the
course.
open window, and as he's watching her, she shuts her blinds and he's like, ah, nuts, and like, uh, but
He
as he's
does he
walking away,
literally nut?
no, 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 he's just like,
Ah, he
he's super,
nuts.
but as he's walking away, he has an epiphany, and he runs to his computer, and he frantically types up a molecule that looks like a bra that's covering. I'm not shitting you. Um, and and that's the molecule that makes invisibility work. Um, and so of course
Dude, the
they
your retelling of this and me being as high as I am is absolutely hysterical. It sounds
um,
so retarded.
well, but then so of
But it makes
course
me want to watch it.
he naturally wants to like you know forego all the safety measures
Right,
and
of course.
protocol and all that shit, and it basically turns into Flatliners at this point, where he insists on testing the thing on himself,
Hmm.
and he takes it too far, and he turns invisible, of course, and then the end of the experiment would be that they successfully bring him back to being
Right,
visible, or unfazed is what they call it in the movie. And
right.
but it starts to happen, and then it doesn't work, and he goes back invisible. But it turns out he likes being invisible now because like he can be super pervy, and he's already his first his first time leaving the lab as an invisible man. He goes to his apartment, sees the naked girl across the hallway, who's apparently always undoing her bra. Like that's all she's like. That's all she does is constantly get naked in her apartment. And
That's my kind of
so
neighbor.
so what does Kevin Bacon do? He gets all invisible and he goes over there and scares her a little bit, and then they imply that he rapes her, but you
Okay.
don't see it. You know.
Right.
Um, and then all of a sudden now he's like evil,
Hmm.
and I guess you could say that that was the drug that did it to him and stuff like that. But it very quickly escalates to murder,
Hmm.
and oh, and he finds out that Josh Brolin is banging Elizabeth Shue, and that puts him over the edge. And then he locks them in the lab and starts like one by one. It turns into almost a horror movie at this point, and it's going after them, and of course at the end, spoiler alert, they kill him, and oh, it starts to take on like a Die Hard thing where they're oh yeah, when she kills him for good,
Hmm.
presumably, uh it's the exact same shot as Hans Gruber falling off of the Nakatomi Plaza, except it's partially invisible Kevin Bacon
Right.
falling in his flaming elevator shaft.
Well, it's
And
interesting, like because the original movie is very similar in the plot line, although maybe not as Rube Goldbergy for sure.
yeah,
But he starts out, he's already invisible in this one, but it's the same thing. Like he goes kind of apeshit crazy as soon as he's invisible and power hungry and mad, and then he kills somebody. Really, it's same thing. It escalates to murder really quickly, and then he's just like fucking crazy and fucking with people and like wants to take over the world. It's like
yeah.
and the idea is that the drug that would the process or whatever caused him to go insane. So
Okay.
it was probably similar. It's
Yeah,
similar, but
it seems
like
more or less it was made more modern.
modernized. Yeah, like
Um,
modernized, and
they
maybe
they
that's what
brought
doesn't work about it. Maybe
yeah.
that makes it feel a little too cheesy that it
Well,
is modernized.
they brought radiation into the mix. Like that was another thing, and quantum something. They didn't really say like, they didn't go too deep into that, but
Dude,
they sure used
all you have
quantum.
to do is say the word quantum in your movie,
Yeah,
and you are smart.
totally. But so that the CGI in this movie was really held up well. And all the efforts that they took to make the invisibleness seem real worked really well.
Right.
Especially 20 plus years down the line here. Um, but that brings me to one of the other major pervy things here is like the whole thing about the Invisible Man is that like he's only truly invisible when he's naked, and they have him
Right.
like partially
Right.
have him
Right.
CGI like turn invisible, and it kind of looks a lot like they did a really good job with it, and it kind of looks a lot like that living those like dead people exhibits that you can go see in the museums.
Right.
Um,
Wait. You know what would be cool? It would be funny. A funny video is to like like cut those movies, but put like a blue ding dong wherever his
well, you
penis
don't
would
have
be
to.
in every scene.
There's there's CGI dicks in this movie all over the place. Like
Really?
from yeah, they
Awesome.
literally like it's intentional. Like it has to be because like almost every time you see full body Kevin Bacon, it's like he's climbing a ladder and the camera's below him, looking just right at the dick. He's like strapped to a table and the camera's like pulling over his body right over the dick, and like every single shot that they have of half invisible Kevin Bacon, it's
Is
there.
his dick.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What a beautiful thing.
And
So
that makes
so
me think about the poor special effects people that had to work for
on
weeks and
CG
months
dicks.
on CGI dicks.
Sweet. I don't
Um,
feel bad for them. They got paid all right for that. And you
well,
know what?
well,
I've seen some people that do that work, and they look like they're familiar with that stuff online.
yeah, maybe. Um, but I watched the credits actually, and I couldn't help but notice how few people there were in the CGI credits.
Right.
Which if you watch a
Unlike
movie today,
now.
like
Oh yeah.
Avengers Endgame, it looks like the goddamn Chicago phone book is
Yeah,
crawling
there's
up the
there's
screen.
like there's
But
like 30 different production effects production houses working on it. But
yeah,
so we
and
let's
300
let's
people in each one of
we
those.
saw two other movies because you saw another
Yeah,
one.
I
Why don't we
did.
talk
But
about that quickly, and then we'll talk about the new one.
well, did you see another Invisible Man movie other than the new one?
No, I saw the new one. But
Okay,
didn't you see the Unseen or something, which
I
I
did.
saw?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Um,
and which would be the next one, right? Technically speaking, because didn't that come out last year, or is that this
well,
year too?
it actually I think the original release date was 2016.
Okay, so
Um, but it's a Canadian movie, and
up.
I found it on Amazon, I think.
Hey, buddy, you're invisible.
And
Hey, guy.
it was written, produced, and directed by a guy
Uh,
who is well known for being a special effects makeup artist and prosthetic technician, and has worked on tons and tons of huge movies like
right.
from Star Trek to Terminator, Ghostbusters, and all the big stuff.
But he
And this
wrote this
guy
one too.
wrote, produced, and directed this movie called The Unseen, which I thought was an interesting diversion in the story of the Invisible Man.
Right.
where it's not a person that has created a thing, or I mean, even if it is, it's not revealed as such. Like you never actually find out, but it's treated as like a sickness
Right.
that it's not only something that you can get, but is hereditary. And so it starts out as a story where this girl, um, has kind of a rough life, or she's living in a single parent household, and that's not going well. And she doesn't know where. What are you doing?
I got
You getting?
snacks.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway,
Um,
so her father's not in the picture. She doesn't know where her father is. And dear God, mute your microphone for Christ's sakes.
all right. Sorry, man. Okay. So what were you saying?
Um,
I was getting into
so
it. Sorry.
her dad's not around, and she
All right. Sorry.
this is serious business.
I know. It's a Canadian movie.
Yeah, right. Hey, buddy.
They have a
Uh,
side letter with the guild.
anyway, her dad's not around, and we're to assume that he's some kind of a degenerate that left, and is an alcoholic somewhere or something, and the mother and the daughter are equally um angry at this guy's not being there for them, and there's a lot of drama, and sort of it feels very like blue collar, like sort of like the first Rocky movie, like the arguments
Right.
that they get in
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Paulie and all that, just sort of the like it's so, like agonizing, just sort of like everybody's just angry for no apparent reason. And
They live in
uh
Philadelphia, and it's tough. It's
well,
the
or
'70s.
Saskatchewan or whatever this
Yeah.
place is supposed to be.
Saskatchewan.
But
Nova
either
Scotia, eh?
either way, there's like a lot of just like static animosity in this movie for some reason. And like almost every conversation even either sounds like it's about to be an argument for no reason, or like straight up is an argument for no reason. And I don't really
Sounds
get.
very compelling.
Yeah, I mean, like it seems like everybody's trying to be like dramatic, and maybe I don't know, maybe they missed the mark, or maybe I don't get it because I'm not Canadian. I don't know, but either way, um, the the truth is the dad is turning invisible, and he's ashamed about it, and he
Oh,
doesn't
you
think that
should
anybody
be.
would understand it, and he
They
doesn't know what to
won't.
do about it. But when you see how he's turning invisible, it's like it looks like almost like leprosy, like there's just pieces missing of his hand,
Okay.
and it's like pretty gross looking, and they do a pretty good job with it. Obviously, this guy being like super duper makeup
Right.
guy, that was really what was behind this, I think. But he did a good job with it, and the concept was neat. And of course, the tragic thing is he passes this invisibility thing on to his daughter, and somehow I think it's fatal. But either way, it's a fun, different take on the Invisible Man, and I don't think the writing and the directing were really up to snuff for like a big time movie, but it was entertaining enough. And
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised by the effects, because it seems like it was pretty low budget otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they didn't get mired up in like fake science and stuff, and they didn't get mired up in like a lot of old tropes, like
Mm-hmm.
there's no like secret military squad looking for him or any weird dumb stuff like that. So
Right.
you know it's maybe a little too grounded, but sometimes you gotta make the best out of what you got.
Well, and then sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
But so, which
But
brings us to the newest iteration that we've watched in the
yeah.
Invisible Man canon, based off of the H.G. Wells concept, I guess.
And this
I'm
time
sure.
it's Blumhouse's go at it.
Yeah, and Lee Winnell, who did,
Yeah.
who most recently did, up, was it upgrade? Is
Yeah.
that what it was? Yeah.
And there's an
Um,
extra D at the end for a double dose of this pimpin'.
that's right. There are 5,000 upgrades in the phone book. Um, but which was a fucking super cool movie. Like, I thought that
Yeah,
movie
it
was
was.
great, super fun. And
Yeah.
so this is his take on the Invisible Man. But
And
it's nothing like the actual story, really. Not
nope.
really. This one really veers from the original story, probably. Well, maybe as much
I
as
mean,
that unseen one.
the Invisible Man's technically not even really invisible.
Right. And yeah, he's not. Well, the one thing, but that was what was cool about the original, is that he's invisible right away. Like, it starts there, and so does this one with that respect. Like,
Right, like it's been done already. Like
yeah.
we're not witnessing it being discovered or any of that business.
No, and he does this
In
kind
fact,
of like his take on a, like, kind of stalker thriller horror sort of thing.
yeah, well, it starts with her basically. The opening of the movie is Elizabeth Moss
Right.
packing up her stuff and like sneaking out of the
Sneaking out.
house, like almost like she's breaking out of prison,
Yeah.
and and like barely makes it, you know, presumably, and
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden the boyfriend's banging on the window and they peel
Drive
off
off.
into
Like,
the night.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
she escapes, apparently, and then it comes to find out that, well, there she's told that he's dead,
right.
right? Um, and everybody believes he's dead, but then all of a sudden, weird shit starts happening, and he's obviously not dead, but
Yeah.
nobody's gonna
And
believe her, kind of thing.
yeah, there's she keeps telling her friends and anybody else who will listen that he's uh super vindictive and he'll never let
Mm-hmm.
her go and he faked
Mm-hmm.
his death and he's invisible, and of course, it sounds crazy.
Crazy, right? But
And
you know,
she keeps getting super emotional about it, which doesn't help things.
right?
um,
I mean, she's really emotional through the whole movie. I mean, but
yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from her, because her performance is actually really good,
Oh,
and
for
it
sure.
works,
Yeah, and
and it makes sense because she's right, you know, because
right,
she's not crazy, which is probably even more terrifying than if she were. And and just to note, and this isn't really giving anything away, because you kind of see it right in the beginning, even though they don't talk about it or explain it, which I liked. We don't see him figure out invisibility or anything like that. It's just that
right.
he's a genius in optical, um,
Something.
yeah, optical something. And
Yeah,
he
they
made
they
he
never
made
really
this.
say.
It's an optics suit, but he's a genius in optics, and he makes this
Yeah,
suit with, like, fucking cameras and mirrors or whatever the fuck's going on with it, that allows him to assume invisibility,
right.
which is kind of a cool take, because they do a very modern, you know, kind of scientific sort of take on it, as opposed to like it's
Yeah,
some potion or serum or
and there's actually
weird
been
nuclear experiment.
yeah, there's no radiation, there's no quantum business.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really go into it. It's just a suit that works.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And that does work really well in the movie in
yeah,
that sense. And they do some cool. There's some cool set pieces with it, although Even when
Well,
there's a cool
the
set piece,
camera,
there's always questionable things after the cool set piece. But
the camera work in this is really interesting, and something I forgot about Hollow Man that I wanted to talk about was the camera work, because there was a lot of Steadicam work in Hollow
mm-hmm,
Man, but that was used as sort of invisible Kevin Bacon's POV shots,
mm-hmm,
and in this movie it seemed like there was a lot more like dolly work and a lot less of like floaty camera stuff.
mm-hmm.
It was like it
No,
seemed
it's
like it was
more
very
traditional
slow.
horror. Mm-hmm,
Yeah, it was very slow and cut pretty slow. Like
mm-hmm.
there wasn't a lot of quick cutting in this, and it sort of forced you to like look around the room. It was almost
Yeah,
like some
it
ghost
built
movies, like
tensions. Yeah,
yeah,
it built
and
tension like within that old school kind of horror technique. It's
and
because
the very first time they do it is when he's in the kitchen, where they
mm-hmm,
actually pay it off, and you see something move. Um, and I thought that was really well done.
yeah, no, there's a lot of things to like about this movie, and I like Leigh Whannell. I think he's really talented, and I like
Me
some of the
too.
things he. I like some of the things he did with this, and it did build a lot of tension, and it was a pretty tense movie, and there were some clever set pieces in it. There was a lot of big gaping holes in this film, um, and overall, there were some points that were kind of unnecessarily annoying. Um, how conveniently the end worked out was bugged
Yeah.
me a lot, like a lot. And couple other things with like set pieces that were kind of cool that revealed the thing, but you're kind of like, really? That there's things that like plot wise were hard to explain for me. Whereas like, yeah, you're really reaching there to make me believe that like Mace is going to be an issue with this super optical suit. Like,
Right. Well, the other, but something else that I really liked, um, for the first half of the movie, it's pretty slow,
mm-hmm.
and there's one event that really turns it around, and that's the scene in the restaurant
um, with
with the
Edward,
knife.
oh yeah, yeah.
Should we talk about what happens there?
Well, I mean, I
I
don't,
mean, it's been out for weeks now, right? So
yeah. So I guess okay. Spoiler alert.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
Elizabeth Moss is at dinner with her sister, right?
oh
Is it
yeah,
her?
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
She's.
she's revealing what's really going on. That she found the suit.
Mm-hmm.
She found a copy of the suit, and that she has proof now that she's not crazy. This is right when all the crazy stuff is like
The,
hitting a crescendo
right,
as well.
right,
So all of a sudden, a knife just sort of levitates in the middle between both of them and slashes her sister's throat wide open, and she just starts
mm-hmm.
gushing blood. And the knife floats right into her hand, and
Right,
she naturally grabs onto it. And then all the patrons see this woman bleeding out in the middle of the crowded restaurant, and
right, and her
here she
holding
is
the knife.
holding the knife, going, "I didn't do it." Um,
Right.
and that was the moment that really made me like go, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so that's what we're doing. All right." And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was really well presented. Yeah, I didn't see it coming at all.
No, me
Uh,
either. I thought that was great. That was an amazing set piece. Like that one worked really well, and the overall idea he had with his story, like I appreciated the take he was trying to do with it. It just was kind of a hit and miss take. And sometimes when
mhm,
he nailed it really well. Other times it was kind of like, you were reaching for that one, you know.
yeah. Um, now, what would you say the overall like message here was?
What with that movie?
Yeah,
Don't fuck with bitches, man.
I would say that's don't say they're if they say they're being stalked. Like I'm sure this comes from like a lot of women being said like, yeah, you're not being stalked. You're just overthinking it, or you're crazy, or you're hysterical, or there seems to be an overall message of like, no, listen to them, they're not, crazy,
Yeah,
and
I guess female
that's
empowerment kind of stuff was going on there, but I honestly
well,
don't feel like the movie particularly has much of a message.
true, but
It's not like
that
it's not one of those movies you can walk out of the band and feel empowered by. But
it is
but
a
yeah,
trend these days to be like woke and stuff. So,
yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm sure they had some of that in mind. Like
Yeah,
you know,
well, because that certainly was like polar opposite of Hollow Man, because Hollow Man was like the Mad Men version of that. I mean, it
right.
was Kevin Bacon was like the most Me Too boss you could ever have. He was like sexually abusing his employees like in front of each other. Um,
That's
but
hot.
the funny thing is they almost had a woke moment in that movie. Because the whole animal thing, like
But
one
then
of
a
the
penis was in the middle of the frame.
um, the gorilla has like a veterinarian on the staff that's all worried about how they're going to kill the gorilla and hurt the gorilla, and
Mm-hmm.
um, Kevin Bacon is completely unsympathetic to the gorilla and just doesn't want to have it, all this ethics stuff messing up his big research project. And so then he turns invisible and he can't become uninvisible anymore, and they keep him locked up in the lab, and he starts going stir crazy, and he starts saying stuff like, I want my life back, and I didn't ask for this, and all these tests
Right.
hurt and stuff, and you guys are just doing experiments on me now, blah blah blah, and it almost wanted to start having a message about like, hey, maybe don't fuck with animals, but very soon after that, it turned into a murder horror movie.
Right. Oh, one last
Uh,
invisibility note, and this speaks
yeah.
to streaming invisibility. The
Okay.
Boys on Amazon, which is
Oh
got
yeah,
first
yeah, yeah,
season
yeah.
out. The
I
one, the
forgot about
one,
that.
the one member of the seven is his superpowers and invisibility.
Right.
And he's a total perv as well. And you see his
Oh,
penis a
that's right.
bunch.
Yes, you
He's always
do.
standing in the chick's bathroom, like invisible, like jerking off. Didn't get caught jerking off in the one scene?
They didn't
and
show it,
but
but
yeah, but yeah, they insinuated he was spanking it, and with
yeah,
and then the way they kill that guy is absolutely hysterical because they
yeah,
stick stuff up his butt.
a bomb.
They put a bomb in his bum, and they
It's a.
blow him up.
um, there was also the movie I forgot that I was thinking about watching as well was Chevy Chase did an Invisible
Yeah,
Man movie,
yeah, he did. Where he
and
was a spy. He became a spy.
yeah,
I saw that too. I was almost thinking about watching that one instead, but I'm like, nah, I gotta watch the original. So, maybe we'll do a part two, and we'll go deeper down the invisible rabbit hole. Oh my god, that sounds so pervy right now after talking about all that Hollow Man
yeah.
fucking shit.
Oh, that's Kevin Bacon in Hollow Man again.
Here
Tells
we go.
He tells the famous like Superman Wonder Woman joke with the Invisible Man, where
Oh,
Superman goes and thinks he'll have a quick row with old Wonder Woman there, and turns out she's already doing it with the Invisible Man, and Superman accidentally butt
he
fucks
does
him.
it with them. Yeah, that's a good one. And
Yeah,
and with that, that's where we're gonna leave the Invisible Man.
yeah. Invisible Palooza is over.
Over. We'll see. Maybe you guys will watch this. We don't know.
Yeah,
But if you
I
do,
hope you
cool.
do.
Shoot some comments, and maybe we'll do another one like this, and then eventually maybe we'll do it together again for the first time or the
For the
last time.
last time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Stay safe, bitches.
Yeah, keep your social distancing distant.
Yeah. We right now, Tom and I are currently about, I don't know what, like 16 miles apart. So
Something like that.
yeah. So we are doing our part.
Yeah. But you know, there'll be lots more stuff to watch. We've watched a whole bunch of other stuff that we'll be talking about soon.
Yeah.
I think we can now that we got this kind of set up going, we can do this a lot more and hopefully start getting some content out there.
Yeah. So take care. Stay healthy.
Happy quarantine.
Happy martial law.
Yeah, right. And scene.
All right.